Hello and welcome to Ever Felt Like This, Australia's 316th most popular Round the Twist podcast. Thank you, Round the Twits. I'm Gabriel Twist.
I am Amber Twist.
And today's episode was the incredibly creatively titled The Big Rock.
I'm surprised it didn't have anything to do with Ayers Rock.
It didn't have much to do with anything. Like, that's for a season finale, this episode was like just sort of there. You know?
You know, in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Gail the snail, and she's...
Which one's that?
That's the garbage pail cousin.
Oh, yeah.
She's sitting at the dinner table and she's jacking off Frank under the table, and he's like, she's just mashing it. That's what this episode was. She's just mashing it.
Thank you for putting that image in my head.
You're welcome.
So we start out with a very shitty, even for this, a kind of shitty green screen.
I feel like they blew the budget on the season.
Like earlier, yeah. I mean, I think probably like the Ice Cream Child used up some of it. They've been shooting outdoors an awful lot. You know, that's not cheap. It's easy to just lock a bunch of kids in a soundstage.
Yeah,
There are very little rules regarding children and Australian character actors.
for such setup over the past season, this was such a letdown.
I know!
Because they did a lot of building.
They really did.
A lot of building for it to be resolved so pitifully.
It was more, they blundered toward the end. There was no sense of like, oh, we have a task to accomplish, let's get it done. There was like this whole excess fucking, conflict plonked into this episode for no value.
Because, it starts off just, on a cliff, and lightning strikes the cliff, and this crystal appears, and then a bridge.
Yeah.
A magical bridge comes out, and a big door opens, and a Viking walks out, this Viking lady. And then we get subtitles telling us it's Thor's voice.
Yeah.
Yelling at her to be back by sunset or else. And she's like, I'm going to get you, Snorrison.
Yeah, I thought it was Thor's daughter, and I don't think it was.
I'm
just not sure if they just forgot that sort of by halfway through, because it just didn't seem like that was the case.
So she's like, and she turns her back, starts walking, and Thor's like, don't you turn your back on me. And then he blows up the crystal and the bridge disappears.
Yeah, and again, that didn't fit with what we watched occur, really.
No.
Be back by, it's like, okay.
Why?
Well, also, it's not like she said, fuck you, I'm staying here forever. And he was like, oh yeah, well, I'll make it so you can't come home. It was just like, she just sort of she has a job. She's like, yeah, because she while she's doing stuff, she thinks that she has to be back by evening.
Mm.
So this is again, so much of the conflicts of the episode just don't really have any business being there. And then what is it? So yeah, this is Helga, who is not Thor's daughter, I don't think.
Mm. And we cut to Snapper with Faye driving in the car.
It is a nice yellow sports
to
car.
the lighthouse, but it's got no doors.
It doesn't have doors, no.
And I like it because they rock up and Snapper's like, I love this car. And Faye's like, it's so yellow.
Yeah, the fucking love poem, just getting to come up with something. Not even I like yellow.
No.
It's so yellow.
No, it's so yellow.
It is very yellow.
And Faye doesn't think it's a good idea they're going to Lighthouse, and Ralph is like, no, Tony said no more hard feelings.
Yeah, and the kids are watching them get out of the car from the window, the one weird window that the lighthouse has for some reason.
It's the peephole. Peeping. And so they're knocking on the door and no one's home, and they keep knocking on the door. They don't even leave it a second. They're like, bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, you gotta give it a second.
Gotta give it a second. They're in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
What if they're upstairs in the toilet? Do you know how
they-
long that would take to get down?
Does the lighthouse, I feel like a lighthouse should have a pole. A
that'd be
sliding, because
cool.
there's no reason to just have stairs, and it's not like the pole's gonna take up a huge amount of space. It's a pole.
And it should go through every room, so you're just trying to sleep, and then straight through. Just getting breakfast.
Well, yeah, because that's how everyone in their rooms gets down. And you got to be careful. It's not like traffic
Yeah.
or something. Or it'll be like the time we were on like the water slide in Launton, and like my brother figured out that you could turn yourself horizontal and just stop.
Oh no.
Yeah. And that was all fun and games until like I just came down behind him at like breakneck speed. Got angry at me too. So why? What do you
You're the one who
Yeah.
stopped.
What do you think happens if you stop on a water slide?
The slide is meant for
Sliding.
flow.
Slide.
Sliding.
It's called slide. It's not a water. Wait a minute.
Oh my god.
Hang on. I'm gonna go up and fucking go down on the water. Fucking sit here for a minute. Fucking idiot.
So the door opens and they're like, "Oh, there's no one home."
It's sinister as
who's
shit.
here?
Like
It's
inside,
dark.
it's just dark.
And in the scene when they're walking in, you see someone's legs.
I didn't
Yeah,
notice
you
that.
see someone in the dark, someone's legs just on a
that's
chair. And I was like, "Oh, it's Tony like being depressed in the dark." That's what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, this is just gonna be insane.
They get closer and closer, and they're like, "Hello, is
Tony
anyone
says
here?"
hello and then just slits his own throat in front of him. This is your fault. Just
Snapper. So the lights go on and they yell surprise. And it's Faye's birthday. Ralph jumps into her arms.
yeah, I like that was funny because like they all shout surprise and like when the lights turn on, it cuts back and like Ralph's leapt off of his feet and like Faye's holding on to him, and then like over the credits they've got a bunch of behind the scenes footage and one of the bits of footage is like them helping Ralph up into Faye's arms so she could hold on to him for the shot. She was actually holding him. You know, it wasn't accomplished using specialized effects or wire.
Snapper has the weight of a feather.
He does look like one of those people who just probably weighs like 40 kilos. You know, his idea of a big meal is probably like some toast and a digestive biscuit. You know, those grandma biscuits that Arnott's still make that like you just never see another human being eat.
I don't mind those. They're a nice treat when you
When you need a digestive.
When you need a digestive. Ones with a little bit of chocolate on it, very nice.
I like how you're just now shifting straight into grandma phase.
Look,
just fuck middle age, just right to 60.
A packet of Tim Tams is like $6, whereas a pack of digestives is like, $1.
That's true, yeah.
Gotta be frugal in this time.
I'm a big fan of like just the salada crackers.
Saladas are good.
Yeah. Because it's like salt and it's not exactly a chip. It's a little more substantial than a chip.
See, Tony's like, happy birthday, gives her a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, I thought it was a birthday party for Faye, then I think it's like
But
also an
there was a sign
engagement
that
party.
said farewell.
Yeah, like, well, I can't remember. I think it was like...
They did say happy birthday, right?
Maybe. I think it was like a combination birthday and
because they were like celebrating
engagement.
the eve of their wedding.
Yeah, like,
So they're getting married. Yeah. So like, okay, cool. There's a knock on the door.
I do like Tony comes up to Snapper and says he loves parties, get-togethers, and then looks at him and says public executions.
Funerals.
It's like, yeah, funerals, public executions. Like, that's actually solid. That was funny.
The door knocks and Tony goes to answer it, and it's Helga, and she's like, "Where is the book?" And he's like, "What's the book? Is that a restaurant?"
Yeah,
no, it's the book.
Yeah, it just shuts the door in her face.
And he's like, "Oh, look, no, I can't deal with this." Shuts the door.
And it's like, again, don't have this fucking Viking book after a Viking-based episode where you all know that there's a thing with the Viking book. Don't have that as a running fucking plot. You can't then
literally had Vikings in your town.
Yeah, you can't then have a Viking show up at the door and go, "Hey, where's the Viking book?" and have a character go, "I don't know what you're on about, go away." You know? Like, at no point was anyone in X-Files going to Mulder, "Hey, Mulder, have you heard about these aliens?" And him go, "What the fuck are you on about? That's just stupid conspiracy talk."
So everyone's like goading Snapper. They want to hear his poems.
Yeah, and like some, I feel like, want to hear a poem or something, and some definitely want him to say a poem because that'll break the spell.
Yeah.
And so he's got... I'm trying to figure out, because I thought it might come up in the episode, but it didn't. Did Snapper know that, like, there was magic in the poems, or did he just think that these were really good poems and that he had to keep it locked up because they weren't really his?
I think that.
Yeah, like that's what because I think he genuinely thought Faye loved him because of his great poems.
Which is sad.
That is, yeah.
So he has a metal case. It's locked up. And he unlocks the metal case, and inside the metal case is another metal case.
That also has a combination lock.
And he finally opens
And
it
inside
up,
that one,
and it's the book.
no, there was another metal case.
There was 3?
There was 3 metal cases.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no, that was great. Then he opens it up and
I
gets it
thought
out.
there
Then
was
everyone's like,
only
oh,
2.
ha, ha, yeah, you've got like the case of the case. That's smart. And then he opens that one up and there's a 3rd case. And everyone's like, oh. Because suddenly it's like there might be 100 cases. We don't know.
So he gets it out, and he's talking, and Bronson answers the door because it's been knocking, and he's like, oh, that's a good costume. And again, she's like, where's the book? Enough. I want the book.
Yeah. Like, you can't live in magical nonsense land and not be able to piece together Viking Book of Love and strange Viking girl at door demanding book. Like, this is not acceptable storytelling.
Snapper's like, this poem's dedicated to Faye. It's the reason, she loves me. It's the reason I have this car.
Yeah.
And then, Helga bursts in.
She just kicks the door down.
Kicks the door down, and, she's like, I have had enough. Where is the book? And Tony, Linda again is like, is that a restaurant? Everyone thinks it's a restaurant. You're all dumb.
Yeah, I don't know what that, like, is that a reference to something maybe? I don't know.
I have never, a restaurant, like,
I know,
I can understand it having
yeah.
like a more like an exquisite French name or something, but D-book? No, come on.
Yeah, it feels like something that's a reference to something that I don't get or remember. But I was alive in the year 2000.
Yeah.
And 17 years old. I feel like I'd remember if there was some place called The Book that everyone was going on about,
So she's like, with a little bit of questioning, she understands that it's the Book of Love, and she's like, where is? And they all point to Snapper. He's got it.
that was as close to a solid comeuppance as I think we
Yeah.
got the whole episode. Is just there's this angry, quite tall fucking woman screaming and yelling in the room, demanding to know where the book is, and Snapper's clutching it to his chest, looking sheepish, and then just a roomful of fingers go whoop, and just point straight at Snapper, and it's like, all right.
Well, she comes to take it, and however, Gribble snatches it from him first, and tells her to step back. You're going to fall in love with me, and he goes through it.
Gribble's just instantly horny for the Viking girl, which is perfectly understandable, but also, just came out of nowhere.
And he gets to the book, and he opens it, flips through it. There's no poems left. There's only the curses now.
Yeah, because all the fucking love has been used up.
So he starts reading the curse. It breaks immediately on Faye, and Faye's just like,
I hate you. Yeah.
I hate you. I never want to see you again. What about the car? I hate the car. I could buy a new one. No, Ralph.
That was reasonably solid, but it was slightly let down by the fact that, meanwhile, the spell that got read has turned into itching goblins, and everyone in the room is just incredibly itchy. Yeah. And so everyone's scratching and yelling and desperate for a solution to the itching problem. And so the room being full of geniuses, people just start reading from the book. Even though the Viking woman is going, don't, they're all curses.
So
they're going to get
Tony snatches
worse.
it, starts reading it, and it turns Faye into a frog.
Yeah.
Then Gribble takes it and reads a spell that makes all the adults disappear.
Yeah, they all apparently go to the Viking realm, which is, I thought was a whole separate dimension, but I think is just the 8th century.
It is. It's back in time.
Yeah.
They start bubbling away.
Yeah, that was probably one of the better special
like an Aero chocolate bar.
God, they did too.
Yeah. I got hungry.
I am partial to an Aero.
Aero is I think it's very underrated.
It's very pleasant. Yeah, no, there are 2 because I don't really have that big a sweet tooth. Once every, if I do, my fucking weight workout, I have, a fucking chocolate milkshake because it's got, the protein powder is chocolate. And so it's that. And then, every now and again when they're on special, I'll get, a Toblerone.
Oh, yeah.
I like Toblerone because I think the honey is an excellent sweetener. It doesn't have that fucking, it doesn't make me feel bad after I've eaten it. And I appreciate that in a candy. I like things that don't make me feel terrible. And Aero. Some reason arrows, just pleasant.
Pleasant.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth.
Now I got to worry I'm going to turn into bubbles and vanish when I eat one. So that's
all the adults disappear, and they're like, Helga's all the adults are gone, and across the world they've all gone to my home.
So across the world. So several billion people are all just, I don't know, in this one village or something. I mean, this is one of those situations where it being a magical, it being fucking Valhalla or whatever would make more sense than it just being
just the 8th century.
Yeah, circa 800 fucking Denmark.
So everyone is gone, and the news. They turn on the news, and it's just a kid, and they're like, "My father was the newsreader."
He's gone.
He's gone. Appears all adults are gone.
And this is what I mean about, like, this needlessly clogged up the fucking thing. It could have just been about, like, I don't know, Snapper racing off in his sports car and not have to give up the book, and then we have to, let's hunt Snapper. That would have been a good episode. The deadliest Snapper of all. And instead it's just like, oh, the adults are gone. And it's like, oh, okay, is that going to be anything? Not fucking really.
No.
Like, it's not relevant. It just fucking clogs up the whole episode.
It breaks down into the kids going, oh, we can do all this stuff because adults are not here. And then we can go shoplift.
Yeah, like, Anthony goes, I have a bad feeling about this. And it's like, yeah, like, even as a child, I understood that, like, I can't use the stove, really.
Yeah.
Like, there are important utility, regardless of what, like, disagreements I may have with my parents, I need them to do stuff bare minimum. Let alone the emotional turmoil I would feel if I saw them turn into bubbles and vanish. I feel like someone not aware that there was a Viking curse book going around would probably be a little distressed at that. That's like basically like The Leftovers, but for children.
And Anthony also states is like, oh, you wanted to go to England. That's interesting. A lot of the Vikings, settled in that. It's like we could be related. It's like, can I have a lock of your? He just pulls out like, he's like Swiss Army knife with some scissors, and she like grabs him by the throat because
don't brandish scissors at a woman. Yeah.
It's like, can I have a lock of your hair for testing? And she just rips off one of her like ponytails, and it's like, oh Jesus, okay. And he gets some of Linda's because he wants to test DNA and see if they're related.
And just like, the kids are all going on about stuff they can do now because they don't have to worry about adults. And, among them is no school. But then Gribble says he gets to watch X-rated movies. And like...
He said X-rated videos.
Yeah.
That's...
I'm guessing the weird not, like, franchise fucking video store that Port and Aranda had probably was one of those ones that had like a full tilt adult section.
I bet his dad was like a massive porno freak.
God, yeah. It's probably one of those dudes where it's like all the videotapes are in their boxes. They're all organized, not alphabetically, by some other thing that, you just don't want to think about. By whole.
Mm.
And it's just a library of it. Again, though, like... I'm trying to remember precisely what the ratings meant. Because, like, X-rated was basically full penetration.
I think so, yeah.
R-rated you could have on TV, but you weren't allowed to show like, fucking, whole.
No.
And we've all gotten okay with seeing some, like, flaccid penis. Which is interesting. I like now that I'm fascinated by, like, the classifications because they have to quantify this shit.
I want to see the guys get day the guy who has to watch this stuff.
Yeah,
because like it has to be reviewed.
Oh yeah, no, they do.
Yeah,
and like, but again, like I remember there's a good one for like I think it was an interview with him, the guy who made NYPD Blue, and like the weird fucking conversations he had to have with the censors about like, okay, I'd like to have one character say shit. And it's like, well, then you can't say like balls 4 times. And like, it was basically like 5 shits added up to a fuck.
Yeah.
Which is just like, again, like.
It's madness.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you going on about? So like, I mean, I get like X-rated is just like, all right, you're watching porno. This isn't like maybe an art film or something. This is like, yeah, you're watching like Butthole Blast. Something along those lines. Imagine having to get your porno on a tape, God, that just seems inconvenient.
That was the time. That was a time.
Yeah. I think I've only ever seen porn on DVD. At least like what I'd consider porn, like soft porn, which I just, I barely count.
Yeah.
It's not porn unless I see something that's also kind of gross. Not something that when I finish jacking off, I'm not like, ugh.
Ah, the shame wank. Nothing like a good shame wank.
How does Anthony have
alive.
a DNA tester? That's the other point. That's not easy.
Yeah. I think it's a kid show. Don't worry about it.
So they're like, all right, well, what should we do? Like, and again, there's meant to be some kind of pressure or conflict or something. and they're just like, let's just go shopping because the adults are gone. Let's just loot. So they go to town and like fucking Gribble's driving the sports car and not very well. And Pete's driving the fucking ute somewhat better. Or not ute. What is it? It's like a 4-wheel drive, isn't it? A Jeep.
It's like a Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep. That's the word I was looking for. I knew it was one of those like weird one-syllable noises. You know, like oot and Jeep.
Jeep.
Oot, Jeep.
Jeep.
I don't know why that made me laugh. I'm going to go drive my oot Jeep.
And they pull up, and it's like he's like, I had a better ride on an epileptic horse.
That was a solid line from Tiger. Good on Tiger on that one. And this,
They just see all these kids around just looting.
Yeah. Later on, Tiger shows up dressed as one of Kiss for some reason.
Also, like all the kids are wearing jester hats. Does Port Miranda have a jestery?
Not the Jester District.
Yeah,
a jestery.
I don't know.
My God, the children have broken into the jestery.
I assume that's a
japes everywhere.
A place that sells jester accessories.
It'll be there. There'll be a jestery in Port Miranda and one somewhere in Darwin, and they're the only two places that you can go to get proper jester equipment.
Those hats were really fucking popular at the Echo one year.
Oh yeah, no, they went apeshit.
Yeah,
like there was just. I think they're probably still there, honestly.
Probably.
Although I don't want to go to the exhibition.
God, no.
I don't want to get like noob cow flu or whatever the fuck.
It also costs an arm and a leg to get in.
It really shouldn't either.
No.
Because the idea is like I should pay a little bit to get in, and then
because everything costs more inside.
You're paying to be fleeced.
Yeah.
And I know that. Like it's like, all right, there's going to be a bunch of literal carnies trying to steal money from you, basically. And like, okay, that's the
part of the fun of it.
Yeah. You're going to go there, you're going to fucking get robbed.
It should be like $5 to get in.
Yeah.
Not like 30 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time I looked. It was probably like 15 years ago, so it's completely out of date information. Like I'm going like just set up. They should set up a rival exhibition. A true celebration of the carny spirit. But that probably won't have like any insurance, and we'll get like the fucking rogue.
Think the Echo has insurance.
Get like rogue carnies.
Good lord. So Helga's like, I have to get back to my time by sunset. It's not. And Pete's like, I'll get you a watch. And then they go into a store, and then they start trying on outfits.
It's
montage.
a fucking and it goes for way too long.
So long. And I'm sorry, what store are you shopping in that has a cowboy outfit, a baseball outfit, a scuba outfit, like biker?
It is.
Because it's not a costume store. It looks like a surfwear store.
It's Australia's #1 jestery is what it is.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, look, sometimes the king wants you to dress in a funny scuba suit. We don't ask questions.
He's the king.
Yeah. It's why you go to like Port Miranda's jestery.
Yeah, it goes for so long.
Yeah, like it... Because you're going to be thinking, oh yeah, it's a little musical, and it's like, yeah, and it's like normally there'd be like something going on, and there's just not, and it goes on for way too long. I mean, there is one point where Helga points out that like she's in like... like biker leather, but mod biker leather. Like not like Harley Davidson biker leather, more like fucking Kawasaki biker leather. Yeah. And you know what? Actually looks good on her. And then she says all Viking girls wear leather though. And then the next scene she's in like some green outfit you'd see on like a race day tot. And it's like, well, that's just terrible.
Yeah. So they've all chosen their outfits, and
they're all shit.
The kids are near the beach, and the Gribble kids are there, and they've got ice creams and things, and yeah. Fucking Tiger's dressed as one of the Kiss members. Immaculate makeup. Like, I don't believe that.
That's what he was doing while everyone else was doing like a fucking montage. There's like this other sub-montage of Tiger just getting the fucking right silver, I don't know the Kiss members. They just Kiss to me. Although there are 4 Kiss golf games on the NES that like someone ROM hacked together. Oh yeah, haven't seen Kiss play golf? We'll look that up after this.
Lord.
Yeah. We'll play it. We'll have that up.
So they come over and they're like, oh, you want to watch some videos? And Gribbles like, nah, seen all the good bits. And I'm assuming he's talking about the X-rated videos.
Yeah.
To which I'm like, bro, there's been a little time has passed. What have you been doing?
Somewhere there's a sub montage of just Gribble masturbating.
Oh my god. So yeah,
he's in the midriff top and everything.
they show up and everyone's kind of really apathetic because like they're like, "Can I have some chocolate?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it. Do whatever you want." And they're like, "What about dinner? Who's gonna cook dinner?" And Linda's like, "I'm not gonna cook." So and then Bronson's like, "I am starting to miss the adults. They made us food."
Yeah, there is a downside to this, and this is before like even the power station stops working and the toilets stop working.
Yeah, no one's thinking of that.
No.
Helga Gribble's like thinks Helga looks really good, and she hopes that Snorrison will like her, and he's like if he has eyes he will. And she's like, I really want to go back to the cliff. Who can take me? And like everyone's like, nah, go yourself. Get a bike. And then Anthony shows up and was like, I've done the DNA test. And he's like, we're all related.
Yeah, like, you know,
like
it's
all
been
of us.
From the 800s. It's been a lot of generations, and as a result, we've all got a little bit of like fucking Helga's DNA.
So if she doesn't get back and make babies, we're not going to exist. That gets everyone into gear. Suddenly, they all want to help her get back to the cliff.
Get back to the future, but it's a cliff.
Yeah.
And like your great grandmother.
So they drive in parentheses to the cliff.
Yeah, real stop start.
And the lighting's too far away.
I know, and this is another one of those ones where it's like, you know, if you hadn't spent time on a montage, some of this would have been maybe a little better. It just comes too
far and fast, because Gribble's like, there's not going to be any lightning today, then...
Yeah.
And it's all off on the coast, and Gribble's like, Tiger, go get it.
That was funny. Yeah, because Tiger, no, it was Rabbit.
Rabbit,
go get the lightning, and he goes, yeah. And then takes 2 steps toward the edge of the cliff, and then stops, and then turns around and looks. And it just, dumb guy acting like this is yeah, it's a skill. It's tough to look comedy dumb in a way that works. But Rabbit fucking, you know, absolutely nailed the fucking
like,
thing here.
What if we had like a lightning magnet? And Gribble's like, that's dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb for even thinking that.
You stupid dummy. You stupid fucking dummy.
Instantly just turns on him. And then Anthony's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And you see the look of confusion on Gribble's face, like, that's a good idea?
And the thing is, like, again, all of these could have been, you know, things that the episode could have been about.
Absolutely. Because it literally cuts to them coming back to the cliff with batteries and stuff. And it's like, well, I didn't see any of this.
No,
why did we need a 2-minute montage of I'm in a scuba gear?
Yeah, and then they ring the sports car and like car batteries and like wire them all together and create like, I don't know, some kind of Faraday cage.
And Helga puts her necklace, which is another small crystal, on
the hood of the car. And then the lightning just works right away.
Lightning just comes over.
Yeah,
the bridge comes out.
And I feel like, you know, if Thor's being a dick, that could have been part of the plot. Like, there could have been a plot.
We don't literally have anything else to do with Thor for the whole episode. There's no more Thor.
No.
Because Snorrison comes out.
Yeah.
Which is the kid we see in the last Viking episode when he was in town. And he's like, you know, I want Helga back. I'll only give the olds back if Helga comes back. And she's like they're very both standoffish.
I don't know. Hey, how are you feeding like the 5 billion people that just showed up in your village? I mean, I feel that would have been disruptive.
They're feeding them to each other. So they have an argument.
Have you met Chinese people? Like, that must be interesting for you.
They have an argument, and they're a bit standoffish, and like, and Snorrison finally breaks down and admits that he would be very sad and heartbroken if Helga just disappeared. And so they kiss and get back together. Then the adults appear walking out of the bridge all Vikinged up.
Yeah, which again, like, it's not like just the port. If the port and Aranda are adults, what did all the adults disappearing around the world do?
Why didn't we, like, 2 minutes of the montage could be shown what they were doing?
Or just, you know, have it so the port and Aranda are adults. It was just the port and Aranda adults that finished.
Yeah.
You know, because that would have made a bit more sense.
Because, like, only they came out of the bridge.
Yeah.
Is
there just bridges everywhere else?
Yeah.
Or they're just all still stuck with fucking the Vikings now, yeah. That's gonna fuck with the time stream. You know? You just create this fucking dense human, like, fucking slant. And especially, like, a lot of those people, you know, they're all from the future. Some of them might have had phones on them and shit, like a Nokia. You can't be going back to, like, fucking 800s with, like, germ theory and shit. You're gonna disrupt everything. I mean, that's what I'd be doing if I went back in time. If I just, like, found myself blasted back, I was like, all right, I'm tampering with the time stream until someone shows up to fix this. I demand to see the Langoliers.
So yeah, the adults come back and everyone's happy, and Snapper's like, "What are you doing?" Because the Vikings have climbed into his car.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I like this car. I take." And he's like, "No, that's my car." And the adults are like, "Snapper, let them have the car."
Snapper, you're getting away with a lot here today.
Yeah.
Getting away with a lot. You're getting away with a level of rape that's upsetting for even, like, your average Australian.
So they drove the car over the bridge into the thing.
Yep.
And we're dealt with, we still got Faye as a frog. And Tony's like, "I think she's hungry."
I feel like that should have been resolved, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Gribble's like, "Here, give it one of my fleas." Pulls it off his head. He's like, "What are we going to do?" And Nell's like, "You've got to show her that you care." And Tony's like, "Okay." He's like, going to kiss the frog. He's like, I hope she doesn't think I'm taking advantage of her. And I was like, "Tony, she's been under the hypno-rapist for the past however long. Months."
All of these elements could have been, like, you know, this could have been something that Tony was worried about over the course of the episode. You know, like, oh, God. And then he learns to just show her, you know, honest affection. And you should have had confidence this whole time that she actually did love you, and it wasn't like, you know, the magic wasn't doing anything, etc., etc.
So he goes to kiss her, and Rabbit's, like, commentating the whole time. And everyone's just like, "Rabbit, shut up."
Which was slightly unearned because, like, A, that's happened maybe 4 times in the whole series, and B, it's always funny.
And he kisses her. She turns back into a human.
That was a moderately good effect.
And yeah, it was. And he goes, "Faye, will you marry me?" And it's like, they were married. We didn't see them get divorced.
I swear they've been married like 4 times.
I think so.
Like, I think every season has ended with them getting married somehow.
Tony has dementia. He keeps forgetting. It's like 50 first dates. Except you wake up with Tony.
It would, you know, see, this is what I do is, like, the old Tony was the real Tony. They reanimated a golem.
Shit!
And that's why he looks wrong and why he can't remember stuff.
He does look like a golem.
Yeah. They took a fucking a self-portrait that Tony had, like, made of himself out of, like, paper mache and, I don't know, forehead, you know, skin, and they, you know, used some kind of horrible device they found in the fucking thing and some ghosts, and they made a new dad. And the new dad's just a bit wrong, but, like, you know, he lets him get away with stuff.
And Faye responds to this by croaking.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, you know, excuse me." And then she's like, "Yes." And then the episode and the season thus end with a group shot with everyone waving at the camera going, "See you next time." I feel like the show should have ended there, never again.
The problem is it had so much build-up. And then the episode's not about any of the things that they really built to. It's just like,
it was haphazardly thrown together.
Like,
each and every piece. Because, like, a lot of this season was really well done.
Yeah, like, and the frustrating thing is like, you could have had just Helga steal the book, and then they gotta get the book back to break the fucking spell. Or, like, they turn fucking, you know, Faye into a frog. And, like, over the, you know, you could have some of these character things happen over the course of the episode, because there's just no character in it, really. Like, it was just stuff occurring. And every few scenes there'd just be new stuff, but none of it would, like, really connect to anything or matter. Is she Thor's daughter? Because I feel like that would be, like, relevant.
And if you didn't have subtitles on, you wouldn't even know that it was Thor till halfway through the episode when she says, "Thor is mad at me."
It was just Dor's daughter. Dor's yelling at her for some reason.
Dor's yelling at her.
Because I feel like, again, there's just lots of, you know, you got to chase and get the book back from Thor's daughter. All right, that's an episode. You know? All the adults are gone for some reason. This isn't an episode about learning to appreciate responsibility.
No.
You know, that's not this episode.
No.
That's just several other episodes. An episode where the parents vanished and they had to slowly learn, oh yeah, it's not all a party. You do need someone to make dinner. Yeah, great. Not the fucking finale.
No.
I don't have any recollection of season 4.
I have slight inklings.
Yeah, so, like, that's going to be an interesting experience. I do wonder if they're able to turn it around and make, like, any of it sort of good.
That's
At least it's not like we have to learn new faces, you know?
True.
I don't like having to do that. I don't want to have to fucking.
I don't want
to hate a new Bronson.
Look, if they replaced Nell again, I'd be happy.
That's true. Nell's been a complete dead end this season. Why even have her? You know, you may as well just said, "Oh yeah, Nell died. Nell's a ghost now." You could have just had Nell played by some string attached to like a can. What do you think, Nell Ghost? Ka-tunk, ka-tunk, ka-tunk. There you go. So we just got like, I suppose she did chase fucking, Rabbit around, so that was funny. We would have missed out on horny Nell.
That's true.
And if nothing else, that was very funny.
That was.
Rabbit at least got one terrible wristy out of that. He's kind of just confused how to take it. On the one hand, it felt terrible and he was frightened for most of it, but then he came, and now those two things are tangled up, and that's going to have some terrible repercussions for him. Jesus wept. All right, Amber. Well, have you ever felt like this? Have you ever been without proper adult supervision? I will add in parentheses when you should have had it, not like currently.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven a car when you shouldn't have? Have you ever looted a store? First question, have you ever been without proper adult supervision?
My brain is a puddle of cats. Time is a vast thing that I do not remember a lot. Probably. I can't recall any. Oh, kind of. Actually, no. The time I got attacked by a magpie.
The one time you were left alone for 5 minutes and just out of nature tried to kill you again.
Because my mother took me to the park, which was at the end of our street.
Right.
And she needed to go to the bathroom quite badly.
So she wanted to go back to the house.
I was like, she had to go back to the house because there's no toilet there. Right. And in that time, a magpie
just decided, fuck you.
Attacked me and sliced my head open.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's why I hate birds and magpies, because their wings, the sound of the wings sets me off. I get PTSD from it. See here.
You were nearly eaten by fucking magpies.
How
old were you? Like
young. Like not young enough to be like I shouldn't have been left alone.
Like
it's just
6-ish.
It's just there's a magpie. What do you do about that?
Yeah.
It's a screaming bird that just keeps attacking you. Because magpies are vicious cunts.
That's so funny. I mean, I don't know. See, I grew up, because I was thinking about it, and it's like, I did grow up in the tail end of that time where it was just like, your parents wouldn't know where you were for large swaths of, like, the weekend. You know, like, because I was walking to school from, like, year one, you know? And it was like a half-hour walk, give or take, maybe 20 minutes. You know, on my little legs. And, like, you know, there was, like, the more I think about it, it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, there's some kind of, like, weird shit, you know? Like my way home, there was that shortcut I could take, but then I think there was, like, a grizzled 18th century miner in there who threw boots at us one time. And, like, that's one of those things that's just like, oh, yeah, that's a thing that happened. But then if you try to approach that, like, you know, like if boots were getting thrown at your kid, you'd be like, all right, maybe I'll walk home with you or something, you know? Because these were, like, boots. We're not talking, like, some little fucking thing. These were, like, fucking work boots, you know? Probably would have done some damage, but they I don't know if being in the caves his whole life gave him really bad eyesight or what, but, like, he couldn't aim for shit. But, like, still, you know. An angry face throwing objects at you in what looked like one of the abandoned homes from Peanut Butter Solution is enough to make you not want to. That's not a shortcut anymore. That's a scary place. Because, like, we used to like, where we lived, it's a whole tract now. Like, they turned it into, like, one of those Autobot suburbs. But, like, behind the house used to just be bush. And, you know, you'd wake up on a weekend, you'd play, like, you'd watch cartoons, you'd play Sega for, like, 3 hours, and then it's just like, all right, let's just go look over there. What's out there?
What's out there?
Yeah.
Wander off into the bush.
Yeah, let's go wander into the bush. Parents don't know where I am. Don't know what I'm doing. I'm throwing rocks at an abandoned car that I don't know how it got in there now that I think about it, you know? Because it was, like, deep. And there were no tracks. And it was kind of just, it was one of those like vans. It wasn't like a 4-wheel drive or something that had the wheels that would get it there. It's almost like people like just fucking hefted it up and moved it in there themselves. And it had like just shards of rusty metal. It's like, hey, let's go play on the shards of rusty metal car.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Let's climb this like really rickety fucking, paperbark tree that like feels like it's going to fall over. Let's climb the rickety paperbark tree that fell over during the storm. Shit like that where it's just like, all right. I mean, there was... I'm trying to think. There was one time when, like, Mom got home real late from uni because of something. And so this is this long stretch where it's like, okay, we've been at home now for, like, as opposed to usually the half hour. Now it's, like, been, like, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just that thing of, like, I mean, Mom should be home soon, I suppose. Fortunately, she was alive.
Well, that's way too good.
Yeah. Because I think about it now, and it's just like, honestly, I probably wouldn't be too... Hey, you want to go let your kids just play in a Australian bushland unattended? Not really.
That'll be right.
Yeah, maybe I'll just follow them.
Toughen up.
Yeah, from a distance. Just I mean, I suppose, like, for a while we did have the dog, And so if she was with you, there's a limit to how much could really go wrong, but, like, still, Yeah, just let you... Because, I mean, there were some kids in that neighborhood who were just never basically fucking, properly supervised.
Yeah. The street kids.
Oh, yeah. Like, the one... I remember, like, when the kids figured out you could lift, like, the grate over the drain. Because, it's just, like, iron and it has a hinge. You can just lift it up. And then just one of them jumping down and just going, just going up the tube. And it's like, are you fucking insane?
Jesus.
Yeah. That's not good. You don't know where that goes. It might be a pit somewhere fucking. Because this was like the full length of the street, Just be like, oh. I guess the it has him now. Ever driven a car when you shouldn't have?
I was driving with night vision goggles on one time. That's probably shouldn't have done that.
I don't know. I think if anything, that's better.
I guess.
I mean, like, it's not like I was driving with a blindfold on once. Like, that would raise a concern.
Not really. I mean, there was one time I think I got my drink spiked and I ended up getting home and I can't remember how I got home. So that was probably that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good.
Because, like, I'm like, oh, we got to go to work. And my friend's like, yeah. He's like, we got home pretty late. I'm like, how do we get home? He's like, you drove. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
We went through McDonald's. So I was like, oh. Hey, obviously we got home fine and there was no damage to the car or anything. So, like.
That's lucky.
Yeah, I think my drink got spiked at Gilhooley's.
Gilhooley's.
That was a cesspit.
Gilhooley's. Which one? Was that the Valley one?
One at Chermside.
Oh, Chermside. All right.
The ones in the suburbs are always worse.
Oh, yeah. No, because they're like, that's where people who are banned from the city and like normal people venues go. You're down to like trying to date rape pensioners. Ugh. The RSL.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. One of the only times I've ever driven, and bear in mind, like, I should not have ever been driving because I don't even have a learner's permit.
Yeah.
So, like, I was wasted, and that's fine because, like, I, don't have a driver's license and was never the one driving. But anyway, I come to, and, like, basically my friend is, like, unbelievably drunk behind the wheel. Whoa. And I'm in the passenger seat, and it's sort of like, it's like fucking 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. So somehow we've gotten from, like, the Valley to, like, fucking whatever that place is called. Come on, brain. It's just north of my house. Starts with W.
Wollongabba?
Not Wollongabba. That's a bit west. Wynnum. That's it. We had to get to Wynnum. And the thing is, he's decided that this is dangerous and he's going to pull over and take a nap. And I was like, okay. He's decided to do this, like, just in the middle of the street, just off of one of the freeway off ramps, sort of. Like, not on it, but like, this is noticeable. And so I'm like, all right, we're like 200 meters away from your house. I just have to get the car there, and then that'll be it. And now the thing is, like, I know that I'm doing the wrong thing. And I got that thing in the back of my head of like, all right, look, whatever you do, you can't die. You can't die in a way that you'd make fun of you for dying. That's the rule. You're not allowed to do that. And so I was like, all right, how do I do this? I was like, okay, I understand the basics. I know how this works. What's the danger? Going too fast. Okay. I just will get into gear, and then I just won't push the accelerator. And so I proceeded to like drive the car at like 1 kilometer an hour for what was an excruciatingly long time.
Oof.
Just slowly up this fucking, street into the suburbs of fucking goddamn Wynnum. And just like white knuckle this, like, okay, it's like that thing of like, there's this thing when you drink heaps about the idea of you can sometimes sort of drink yourself sober. And you're not sober exactly. But what happens is something occurs and all of your I have to outrun this tiger adrenaline kicks in. And you just get, one of your bonus lives. And that's fucking it. And that was what was keeping me going here. So it's like, okay, eyes wide open, don't kill yourself or someone else. As the cars go like, yeah, like, it's just, fucking would have been outrun by a fucking pensioner on a walker. It's all just, but I managed to get it into the fucking garage without like running into anything. And that was like, all right, look, we can't do that again. I don't want to be in a position where I'm having to like make that decision. But it was like the car was like literally in just the road. And it's like me, an unconscious friend, and a car on the road. It's like, all right, I can't push it. Okay. And it's just like, okay, what do you remember about driving? It's like Mario Kart. Nope. Okay. Something else. Daytona. Bit quick, but there's something we can work with there.
Yeah. Mario Kart. That is not the experience to base
Mario
that
Kart.
off.
No shit. Okay. Because that was like, I think that was. No, well, it would have been around still Mario Kart Wii U period. I was still playing a lot of that.
It's just like with playing with the Wii wheel.
Yeah. Have you ever looted a store?
No.
Or accidentally, you ever nicked anything out of a store?
Accidentally when I was young.
Yes,
I think a lot of kids do.
Yeah, you just walk off with something and no one says anything.
Yeah. And you're like, you show it to your parent, you're like, I got this. They're like, oh.
Yeah,
we don't do that. That's wrong. And then it's like, okay.
I didn't even like, it was just one of those situations where, it's a little bit like when you look for you pat your pocket looking for your phone and you forget it's in your left hand.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just like suddenly I realize in my left hand is a thing that I was supposed to have paid for, and the store's way back there now. So, I don't know.
I feel like
this is going to yell at me more.
I haven't. I don't think I've ever stolen anything on purpose.
I mean, there are things that I absolutely will steal with zero fucking,
I mean, grapes. Walking into the shopping center.
I'm eating your grapes.
Yeah, like I'll have a grape or two. Like,
Yeah.
I'm shopping. It's my prerogative.
Yeah. Because I know that because of the stupid like automatic, you do the fucking scanning. Like, you're the trolley bitch now. Like, I've just like, because sometimes I'll put things in the side pockets of my bag while I'm like shopping, and then I'll just fucking forget that they're there.
Sometimes, like, you put fruit down and it scans as a different fruit, like the same fruit, but the different kind. It's like how there's navel oranges versus fucking whatever orange. And it will scan, and it's the cheaper one. I'm not going to correct that.
Yeah,
that's not my job.
Yeah, it is never my job to correct the machine.
No.
I will do it on my own prerogative if I feel like I'm getting scammed. But if it's something in my favor, I'm sorry, but that's the monopoly.
When the automatic checkers first came out, they weren't working properly. They used to, because they have scales in them, and every item is supposed to have a weight.
Yeah.
So that knows what's being put down. Just the weight. They disabled the weight limit because like it just wasn't working properly. It would just error on every fucking sale. So it's like you could just put whatever on there.
PS5. 2 kilos of carrots.
Yeah. So yeah, not Yeah. I don't know, like, to me, like, I don't really have a want for much stuff that I would go to the effort of shoplifting.
Yeah, that's true
Like,
too.
food is just, like, food is food. And, like...
Yeah, it's relatively easy to
long
get
as, like,
very cheap food.
Yeah.
You know? Provided, like... Because, you know...
Also, like, I'm transgender. I do not need that heat on me.
Enough trouble as it is.
Exactly. I'm not going to go...
Hey, that transgender's stealing genitals!
I don't want to go to, like, a big W and try to walk out with, like, shit.
Tits.
And get busted. Like, it's not... I would like to have as little to do with cops as possible.
Yeah. 'Cause, I will loot media, but also, you know...
Yeah, but that's a different story.
Fuck you.
That's a different story.
Also, fuck you. Like, if I could physically steal David Zaslav's eyes, I'd do that too, you know? Loot his balls. Alright. Now, Amber, it is the time of letters. Dear Twist siblings, has a dog ever stolen something from you? Where do I fucking start?
This is going to be good.
Yeah, next sentence. My housemates and I foster greyhounds who have retired from racing, getting them ready to be pets.
Excellent.
That's fantastic, because you're not catching a greyhound if it steals something of yours. It's like, whoop, there it goes. This typically involves them basically getting to be puppies again for a bit as they can learn the rules. They are not only fast, but also tall. They can easily reach food left unattended on a table, but all animals steal food. That's not a big deal. On the other hand, anytime a person leaves a room, if a greyhound stands up and trops over to that room, you know they're up to something shifty. The following things have been stolen. Hats, shoes, a shirt, a model tank, stuffed toys, a doorstop, a piggy bank, an iPad, a TV remote, flower pots, a box of loose-leaf tea, and a deck of cards. Maybe they were trying to play poker. In most cases, it's just a matter of relocating the things as a game or being close to our things when left alone, but the TV remote and cards were actually destroyed.
No.
I didn't know greyhounds would nick shit.
No.
I suppose the whole thing is like being trained to catch something, and they never get to catch it.
So they're like, yeah, finally.
Yeah, I'm
it's my
catching
time.
everything. Every plastic thing I see move, that's mine now. Kind regards. Okay. Hello, Gabriel and Amber. I hope both of you are doing well. The US is currently speeding up its demise, thankfully. I won't say too much about how I feel about the unelected Emerald Boy ruining the place even more, but there wasn't a ton to save in the first place, except maybe the legal weed and sneakily legalized magic mushrooms. I am not sure how that happened, but several smoke shops around me suddenly started selling mushrooms and products with mushrooms in them,
That's
like
cool.
gummies or chocolates. But if anyone asks, I'm a good Mormon MB. Ever had something stolen by a dog? Several things, in fact. I had several dogs growing up, and have had toys and food stolen from me when I wasn't looking. The one that sticks out the most, though, wasn't a dog stealing something. It was watching a dog get stolen from. Huh. When I was like 5 or 6, my dad had our kitchen window open after dinner one night and was throwing out leftover chunks of rib meat and bones to the dog in the backyard. One of our, at the time, 5 cats saw this and ended up chasing one of the pieces. I remember we all just saw this black and white blur shoot out the window from when we weren't looking, watching the cat snatch this piece of meat out of the dog's mouth and then back up to the window to hide under my parents' bed to eat it. Watching a dog try to register bewilderment is an excellent experience. Ever cheated on a test? Once on a math test in high school, I got caught and failed the test. Do video game tests count? Because my first, second, and third strategies for every boss fight or skill check is to lie, cheat, and steal. Ever spoken to an inanimate object? I work in a middle school doing IT. Yelling at things for not working may as well have been in the job description. I also have a tendency to say, see, was that fucking hard? To stuff when it finally starts working. I have also been building 40k minis recently. That's unfortunate. Imperial Guard specifically. And I've had a conversation with my kill team's sergeant veteran about why several of his men were asleep while on watch. One of the cats had jumped up onto the home bar and knocked them over. Ever done the love me not flower thing, and do you feel it influenced the outcome?
Ooh.
I remember doing the flower thing a few times while I was a kid, but I don't feel like it ever changed anything. So I was the weird loner kid in most of my classes, so I wasn't super well liked. They saw you doing the creepy flower thing. They saw you trying to control them with flower magic, and they were upset. I'd be upset. I don't want to be controlled by flower magic.
No.
And that is the end of today. Remember, if you want to tell me if you've ever felt like this, send your emails to IHaveFeltLikeThis yahoo.com. That is, I have felt like this at yahoo.com, all lowercase, no breaks or anything. And today's questions are: ever driven a car when you shouldn't have? Ever been without proper adult supervision? Ever looted a store? Send those answers to I have felt like this at yahoo.com, and we'll read them out here and probably laugh at your misfortune.
Please. I have so little in my life.
Can't even shoplift tits.
What a world we live in.
And so that was the season finale of season 3, which was a dud. Hopefully the season premiere of season 4 is, I was going to say whatever the reverse of dud is, but that's just
Hopefully
also dud.
we get the return of Tony. I'm sick of reverse Tony.
Not reverse Tony. Not E-Not.
Oh, shit.
I'm Gabriel Twist.
I'm Amber Twist.
Good night.
Till next time, bye.